Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Rabbidroo. Welcome back to the channel. We have a PvZ for you today on Metropolis. In the bottom right here, spawning in blue, we have Airfu, and he is playing against Soma, who is spawned here in the top left. So, we have a game on the channel quite recently where Soma played against Airfu and Airfu beat him. And so I'm wondering today if Soma is going to be able to take revenge. So let's see how it goes. I'm actually quite looking forward to this game. I think it is going to be a good one. So this is the first time I have clicked the record button in 2026. So it is the 17th of January today. I'll probably record multiple games on the bounce. It's like Gateway first from, oh no it's not, it's Forge first from Airfu. That's a variation from some of the PvZs that I've cast of his thus far. So I know I've said it in other videos, but I had kind of pre-recorded it. Now I am saying to you for the very first time, Happy New Year for 2026. Thank you to those who continue to tune in, to comment on videos. There's a few people that have sent very, very kind comments, which are much appreciated. It looks like we're going to get a cannon rush here against a hatchery first, which is why the Protoss does do the double scout. So we have the two pylons, and we are not going to get much of a reprieve or an opportunity to do any kind of introduction here, but that's actually totally fine with me. I don't know how good of a map this is for this. Cannons on the way. Probes are fighting against the blocking drones. One probe is gone, another probe is here. Third pylon is coming. Are we in for a very, very short game here? I don't know. We'll have to see. Seems to just be planning to make a gateway now, I assume. He's making a cannon. So he's just securing his own main. This should be in range to hit drones. Kills one. Okay, so it's going to hit the hatchery. Is this going to be a sunken, is the question. Spawning pool is up, so it can make a creep, and he has. So, will the sunken kill the cannon before the cannon kills the hatchery? That is the question. The Zerglings are not going to be assisting in the fight. They are going to be counterattacking. We have a cannon and a dream over here, so we have to keep an eye on a few things. We're busy firing on our pylon with the cannon. Why? Somebody needs to explain this to me. That's honestly very weird. I've got no idea why that happened. Slings came in, confirmed the cannon, and head left. Looks like he's going to get this. As well as harassing over here, so that Soma can't expand again. Very, very annoying start from Airfu. Sending a lot of lings here. I think he's going to save this hatchery by the skin of his teeth. Yep, he does. And I think if you don't get the hatchery as Protoss, does that mean it's all over by the shouting? I mean, you've invested and sacrificed a lot to get this far. We do have a Nexus coming up. We do have Gateway, Cannon, Gas on the way, Cybernetics Core. So it does seem that his build has progressed. 23 plays 19 workers. I think Zerg gets a bit of a lead when this doesn't kill this hatchery. But we'll monitor the game as we go. Layer on the way from Soma. This probe who has been annoying is going to get taken care of. And now we should be able to progress to a normal game. I think the discovery of this hatchery over here is going to be quite critical as to when this gets found. If it gets found quite soon, it's going to be a bit painful for Soma to protect it. But that being said, he is going lair, and therefore I would imagine he would have a spire out quite soon. So I think he's actually going to get away with this because it's going to take a little bit of time before Protoss is out on the map. I think though, if you're Protoss, you really do want to have visibility on the timing of the third base from the Zerg and the location. So I won't be surprised to see him looking for it. Soma is posturing around with these lings to kind of make sure that Protoss is inclined to at least leave 1 or 2 zealots at home. So he is going to go look with a probe. This probe should probably get intercepted here though. It does get away. It does see slow lings. So could potentially expect to see a Hydra build from Soma. We know, obviously, we have the advantage of the production tab, that isn't what he's doing. But let's keep an eye on it. He's going to get us around on this. I don't think he's going to get the scouting information he's after. Does kind of leave this probe to his own devices. Oh, he has found this. I don't know how he has sensed that this is here. Spider sense, sixth sense. I think he just sent them there because he had them on disappear. He had them to turn around, and then he was like, oh wow, we do have a hatchery here, that's convenient. But I think he has enough lings to probably take care of these zealots. And I think it's useful that he's morphed in that sunken. That wasn't very good micro from Airfu, because instead of the zealots targeting down the hatchery, they kind of fought against a drone. So he's going in behind the mineral line here, and he's going to make a sunken as well. And I think he shouldn't have too much of a problem, just patiently fending this off. The scouting probe that disappeared a little while ago is still moving. He's not being microed though. The micro is happening here. Get rid of our panel for the time being. And 5 zealots here is going to be painful. It's got a decent surround here and some good surface area. I still think this is potentially too many zealots. As we can see the health bar, these two are still quite green. That sunken will help though. It's also in a very good position. Not detecting this hatchery, unfortunately, out of range. And the zealots not being micro to fight the lings. He's not going to kill this hatchery before it comes up with 2 zealots. Corsair flying around to scout the spire, observe. I expect we'll see a couple more Corsairs. Mutas are incoming as well. He's making a... He's gonna lose this hatchery by the looks of things. Very, very close. He's actually gonna pull drones here. And that was very, very necessary. If he didn't pull drones, he would have lost that hatchery. So nicely done. This has been a really frenetic game. And now the sunken does protect this hatch. So this hatch will safely survive. And so both times our ASL champion manages to save his hatches by the skin of his teeth. And that's the end of that. Okay, so the mutas have shown themselves. I don't think moving out here with these edits and these DT is going to get much done. There is not an overlord here though, which is interesting. Where is our nearest overlord? That's the question. I've actually literally had no time to talk about anything other than this game. I'm not complaining. Ah! 2 overlords pop. Just in time. And instead of targeting down... Oh! My god, 18 hit points. Wow. This has been crazy. Absolutely crazy. So High Templars are on the field. Lots of meters around. He should have a couple of cannons to protect his mineral line. Doesn't seem to need it really. He's got a lot of Corsairs. Did he get +1 attack? He sure did. And he's making more Corsairs. So a little bit of a Corsair Zealot DT mix from Airfu here. And an Archon to fight these mutas will also be very useful. And if you're Soma, you need to try and protect your position while you're establishing up your macro power. I think that is his biggest strength in this match. So versus Protoss is he gets an obscene number of macro hatches and becomes very, very powerful. Those Scourge didn't do much. And this is quite a scary push potentially coming in here from Airfu. The mutas are going to be outmatched with +1 Corsairs. Archons. Plenty of static defense here though. Neutralizing the ground attacks at least. Oh wow. Those Overlord's just literally evaporating. Down to 3 Corsairs though, so obviously the Scourge are getting some hits. It just feels... oh, there's more here. Split them up, my apologies. It just feels like it's so difficult for Scourge to get anything done when the Corsairs are in numbers and they've been upgraded. So we are running back, and we'll see how many gateways we're on. We're on 4 plus the one up front, so 5, 6 gateway Protoss. And we're doing some worker transfers. It is just all action here, to be honest. Third base being taken, I think that's really good timing for Airfu. Although, yeah, I think his Corsairs will give him the necessary comfort he needs to fight his mutas. I don't know what he's going to try and achieve with wow, all those Scourge, and he got about 4 Corsairs. Picks up a drone. They evaporated Overlord. Drone running here. I think he's got him suited. But it seems to have lost one of the hatcheries. So this is a really good sim study. Lots and lots and lots of static defense in Broodwar Soma. You can see 3 Sunkens here. There's a fair number at the other base. I'll have to try and fight toe-to-toe again against the Corsairs. And because of the number of Scourge that did get some good hits there, I think that fight went well, and now he's also introducing some Hydralism into the fray, which will naturally fare very well against the Zealots. And because Lurkers are on the way as well, methinks the Zealot Corsair strategy has run its course, and we will see some Dragoons and Observers hitting the field shortly. Double Evo chamber, so we're going to get our upgrades pumping. Cannons on the way here. Counterattack being attempted from Soma, and I think this isn't a bad idea. He's going to have to micro though against his Archon. Why are these drones heading back? To die is the answer. One of them. Very busy play for both players. Does that word make sense? Busy? Very, very busy. Oh, very nice micro. Through the Archon. A couple of Scourge hits there on the Corsairs. So where are we in this game? We have this base up and running, established. Soma's got 60 drones. His macro is going to be incredibly powerful. We have only 3 bases though, so I think the name of the game here, if you're a Zerg fan, is for Soma to be taking bases quickly, because Protoss is on 4 bases if this one comes up, and that is going to be very, very difficult for Soma to fight against that level of macro power. I think he'll tidy up the Zealot in no time as he tries to establish a 4th base. Lurkers! Active with the Zealots. Another drone back here. I think Soma was just intending on expanding here. I had no idea that Airfu had already set up a base himself. And I think that is not a very good surprise. He understands the impact that that potentially has on the overall context of this game. He's going to look to expand here. Does seem to have a little bit of a disconnect between his gas and his minerals, so that's a challenge for our Zerg. And he's got potentially too many drones, just based on the number of mining bases that he's got. If you can add 1 or 2 more mining bases though, you could probably just resaturate without it being too much of a drama. Okay, a bit wasteful there on our Scourge, but cannons tidied up quite a few. Oh. Way too many more drones there than what he would have wanted to. So Dragoons have hit the field. I don't see any observers with this army. I don't see an observer in the game yet. I do see one in the production tab though, so we will be having our very standard... And Airfu likes to play with a lot of Dragoons. when it gets to this stage of the game. So I won't be surprised to see a composition twitch up from him. Looking to pressure this position. This is a very new source of income. As you can see, the drones have literally just been transferred here. And Hydra Lurker is what's going to protect it. And on this awkward uphill ramp, I think that's quite effective. Targeting down some Dragoons with these Lings. Always good match for the Zerg if you have Lings versus Dragoons. And yeah, we've got some Hydra Lurker over here. Potentially another base to be taken. So Soma has caught up his macro quite nicely, making a stack of Sunkens here as well to protect this newly established position. And I think at this phase of the game, we're just going to see a lot of base pressuring. I think Protoss has got a bit of a lead, and so to stay in the lead, he's going to just keep moving his army around and sort of try and dominate the central positions. A little bit scattered here, the army. It does have just a single observer. The upgrades to it here. 2-2. I think Airfu, his strength in PvZ is definitely his Dragoon and army control in mid-game. Runs very, very nice, slick upgrades. So he's got his Dragoons up onto the ramp and he's basically flanked this. And so will not have any problems holding what is now in essence his, I want to say 6th base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so it's a 6 basing Protoss. I mean, this is not looking good for Soma. Going to be very, very hard to play against a 6 basing Protoss. Kind of a skirmish here, once again, predominantly. Seen our first storm in the game, which is quite late for this match. And here Dragoon got himself stuck. And that's not survive. This is just a little scattering of mutas and overlords kind of spread around here. So that's what I'm expecting to see, just constant posturing from the Protoss army in the middle of the map. And then just trying to find an area of weakness to exploit. So this is a new source of income for Zerg, and naturally, as expected, this is where our Protoss will be trying to apply pressure. Sends in a lot of lurkers. Not enough here, I think, from Zerg, although typical pathing challenges for our Protoss. Struggling to get units up here to get the job done, but does have enough. A decent option for Zerg here is probably some kind of counter-attack, but Soma choosing not to exercise that option for the time being. Probe transfer to the 6th happening, 78 probes, so army value here will be relatively low from both players, but particularly from Protoss in terms of size of units, but with good upgrades, good micro, good spellcasters, and a very strong number of gateways, his replenishment rate will be remarkably strong, and that will make a very, very big difference. So not establishing this base here, but also like by leaving these units here, denying the re-establishment from Zerg, which, you know, in terms of time away from that money while mining 6 bases on his own steam, will make a very big difference to the overall context of the game. Defilers have hit the field, so Plague and of course Dark Swarm, very relevant in the context of defending bases if you're Protoss and attacking bases if you're Zerg. Cracklings under Dark Swarm really devour buildings at one hell of a rate. I had the sense that this was going to be a drop, but I'm right, it is going to be a drop. I'm just curious to see what exactly the drop is going to achieve. No defilers in the drop party. Cracklings have done their work, as I said. Very good demonstration of how quickly they will evaporate the building. And does manage to hold this, still has the 69 probes, both players accumulating plenty of money. Has moved the Protoss army here to take care of this and is moving a big swarm of units out himself. Potentially now just wants to try and establish this position. I thought for a moment he wanted to pressure this base because it's quite exposed. There's no Protoss units here and they've got to travel quite a distance to get that. Though someone knows exactly where Airfu's main army is. We'll be out of position to defend this, but instead decides, you know what, you kept a nice chunk of units here, and I'm going to have a surround. Your army's going to have absolutely no chance of getting here to reinforce. So good luck. Plus you've kept your units here to try and protect and re-establish the space. So Soma exploiting his knowledge of where his opponent's army is to set up a new base of his own. I'm just waiting for this drone to turn into a hatchery any moment. A couple of Archons just kind of getting cornered here. Still hasn't established his base, to my surprise. So Zerg once again trying to pressure the 6th base. It's being protected by Reavers. Hasn't transferred the drones here. Probes over here. He hasn't transferred the probes there yet. Until he's comfortable, that he can defend it. Probably has enough mining bases to gainfully employ those workers elsewhere. We now are going to go to what is, to my eye, a very vulnerable base. Just cannons here. Admittedly, the rally does kind of reinforce, but he's kind of set this road of lurkers here, making it difficult for Protestants to defend. Does hold the first wave. Transferring some probes here now, eventually, a couple. And some more units to reinforce. I think if Airfu holds 6 bases here, just on the basic premise of maths alone, he should win the game. Again, more little skirmishes here in this pocket, which is the lurkers kind of dropping the pathway of the rally and the main production port of our product. Soma again trying to pressure this position. It is a valuable target, but it is very, very well defended. Difficult to get up there. Trying now from the other angle as well. So see if we can get some lurkers up here. Borrows these lurkers, but I don't know how valuable these ones are going to be in the fight. The Reavers there, the Storms. Not very efficient trading there. Soma lost a lot and gained very, very little. Making Guardians over here as well, so this game really is getting everything. Here comes the next lot. Does now finally reposition its lurkers. Decent Storms. Oh wow, those Scarabs did a really good job. Sends more reinforcements and holds on once again. So the lurkers, the Guardians have arrived, and the response to them seems to just be plentiful storms. Yeah, okay. Now what? We'll pick up some probes. Lost quite a few probes in this last little exchange. We peaked at about 75 probes, so lots of work has been lost in the base trades. Soma's making all the play here. I think Airfu has identified. He takes a defensive posture in this game and just holds the bases he has. I think that's his win condition. And Soma knows that if he can knock down one or two of these critical bases, that's his only win condition. So that's how the game is evolved now, where the Zerg is just in attack, 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 and our products are just in defend, defend, defend. Lonely lurker here, just being super painful. Here comes the observer though, so short-lived pain. Okay, making some more lurkers. Let's take on this middle spot. Somebody told me there might be extra amounts of minerals here. There's not. Taking this middle spot doesn't make sense to me. Unless we just want to have a hatchery. Decent storm there. Has done the Dark Swarm, try to take the space, but with these 3 Reavers here, sheer volume of units to use, it's just neat, it's just unbelievable. Okay, so Airfu sensing that Soma has thrown a lot of units at him and could well be starting to run out a little bit of economic steam. Decided to build a counter-attack of his own. This is probably not the most valuable target, but it's pretty low-hanging fruit. The gas is of benefit. He's storming up a storm here, and his Archons are doing some good work. Just retreats. And so Soma will hold him off, but 172 plays 92. And guys, I dare say, Airfu seems to have Soma's number. I have not found a game yet on Seawall. And I'm sure that it's there. I just haven't found it. Where in a macro game that lasts longer than 15 minutes plus, where Soma has managed to beat this Protoss player. He seems to have his number, at least for the time being. We'll keep looking for more games to see if Soma can adjust and start to mollywop this guy, because on a skill premise, Soma should be the stronger player. But just in terms of the games we've cast between these two, Airfu's got the advantage for the time being. It's been a really fun game too, just absolutely non-stop. It's been awesome. So some defensive dodge storms here, couple of legs as well. Every single map, so every single base on this map is protected. Those are very, very fun games. Soma's really running out of steam here. I don't even think Airfu's sending everything he has. He doesn't need to. 4 Reavers, Archons, Storms. It's a deadly combination. It's a very efficient use of a handful of very powerful, very strong units. So one of the Reavers has survived. In the production tab, we've got 4 Zealots, 4 Templars, 2 Archons, and another Reaver on the way. And Soma's running out of money, just making a handful of Lurkers, Hydras, 1 Defiler. You can see, just doesn't have the economy needed here. And while a lot of the fights towards the end again have concentrated here, it's just been where the units of both players have been pooling. We've been trying this very, very deliberately, Protoss, to cut off access to this gas reserve. Soma's definitely fought valiantly. But when you get the number of bases that our Protoss has gotten, life does become very difficult for the Zerg. I think he's emptying out his house now. Doesn't have much left here. Sending it all again. Fully maxed out, with money to spare. That's that. GG. Really, really great game from both players. But this Airfu guy is an absolute monster. Really, really, really an incredible player. I think we need to be profiling him more and more. I think he's somebody who's going to make a splash on the ASL quite soon. Just to go through the stats quickly, you guys can see the real barcodes that these players play on. I don't mind. You know what that is. Sorry for the overlay that's still visible here in the top corner. I'm not switching it off because we're just quickly looking at the resources. So that's really what made the difference, right? Is even if our Zerg has mined more minerals and more gas. Protoss is just way more cost efficient in this matchup. So it is very critical for you as Zerg. It's almost a pendulum that swings. So in the first half of the game, Protoss can't let Zerg get too strong economically, and in the late game, Zerg cannot let Protoss get too many bases. And I think that's what happened here, was Airfu managed to get that 6th base up and hold it, and that was more than enough. So yeah, guys, this was my first game back. It was an absolute cracker. I didn't talk about my trip. I didn't talk about anything, but I will do that in some videos coming up. I'll still record a few more today. If you joined in for the very first time, thanks very much for doing so. Please hit the like button and subscribe. I'm here 3 to 4 times a week. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for stopping by again, and I'll see you soon. Take it easy.